Hello and welcome to the Video on Demand series. This is season 2, episode 5. Our topic for this episode is occupational health and safety management and addressing risks and opportunities. My name's Claire Agata and I'm the host for today's session. And I'll start with a little bit of background to our discussion before I introduce our two knowledgeable guests. Health and safety in the workplace is a number one concern for many businesses, but deaths and injuries still occur, and the costs to businesses and economies is significant. According to the International Labour Organization, there are currently more than 2.78 million deaths a year as a result of occupational accidents or work-related diseases. So why do organisations struggle despite these decades of regulation? Culture, leadership, worker participation, changing work environments, psychosocial risks, and the complexity of business are all factors that should not be underestimated. ISO 45001, Occupational Health and Safety Management Systems, Requirements with Guidance for Use, provides a framework to increase safety, reduce workplace risks, and enhance health and well-being at work. And that's our topic for today. So I'm going to start by asking our two guests to introduce themselves. So Liani, if I could come to you first, please.
Good afternoon, Claire, and thank you very much for the invitation. I am Liani Detroit. I am a health and safety advisor. I'm actively involved in health and safety, working with the UK National Standards Body, HS1, for those that are aware of it. I'm actively involved in ISO TC 283, the technical committee responsible for the flagship ISO 45001. And then for my day job, I am also a chartered fellow of IOSH, which is the Institute of Occupational Health and Safety Practitioners, and a mentor for occupational health and safety for ROSPA, so for Women in Health and Safety. And I'm absolutely delighted to be here today.
Thank you so much. And Frank, if you'd like to introduce yourself, please.
I'm a lawyer by education, have worked for many years as a CEO for small and mid-sized companies, and currently I'm working as a consultant to small and mid-sized companies, selling them the knowledge which I acquired as a CEO. For standardization, I'm working as an expert in TC 262, which is risk management, and in TC 292, which is security and resilience. And I'm also a member of JTCG, which is the organization that is trying to harmonize all the TCs with management system standards. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So let's get started with our discussion for today. And I think to help set the scene and put some context around this, can we begin with occupational health and safety and a little bit more background there?
Certainly, from my point of view, Claire, when people think about occupational health and safety, they often think about preventing accidents and injury at work. Now, of course, that is an important part of it, but modern occupational health and safety is much, much broader than that. Today, we are concerned not only with physical safety, but also with the psychological health, well-being, and the wider context that influence how people experience work. At its heart, occupational health and safety is about understanding what could cause harm and putting measures in place to prevent that harm from occurring. Now, the world of work, as we know it, is changing rapidly. It doesn't matter where we look at this. Organizations today are dealing with technologies, changing workforce demographics, increasing complex supply chains, new ways of working, and then let's not forget emerging challenges such as climate change. Now, as a result of this, organizations need a structured and a systematic approach to understanding risks, preventing harm, and continually improving performance. And that is exactly what ISO 45001 is designed to provide. One of the reasons the standard has been so widely adopted globally is that it provides organizations with a framework that can be applied regardless of the size, the sector, or the location. The principles will always remain the same. It's about understanding the risks that's involving workers, taking action, and obviously, let's not forget about continually improve. So ultimately, for me, good health and safety management is about protecting people, creating a workplace where individuals can work safely, remain healthy, and obviously perform at their best.
Thank you, Lieni. I think I would like to briefly say something about 45001. The standard contains agreed requirements regarding occupational health and safety from across the world. It is to increase safety, reduce workplace risk, and enhance health and well-being at work. Its benefits, it was already said, is protecting workers. Applying the standard can lead to improved organizational resilience, stronger worker engagement, and reduction of harm. And it needs to be noted that this standard assists all organizations of all sizes and sectors, as well as governments and society as a whole. Furthermore, it aligns with other ISO management system standards, and we have talked about that in the previous episodes, such as ISO 9001 quality and ISO 14001 environment. So, Lieni, over to you again.
Thank you very much, Frank. Now, one of the key concepts of ISO 45001 is occupational health and safety risks. The standard defines occupational health and safety risks as a combination of the likelihood that work-related event or exposure could occur and the severity of the injury or ill health that could result. What is important is that ISO 45001 takes a broad view of risks. Many people immediately think about machinery, vehicle, hazardous substances, or working at height. And whilst those remain important, the standard also recognizes psychosocial hazards, changing work environment, and other emerging risks that can affect workers. Risks is not static. As organizations introduce new technologies, change working practices, adopt automation, or respond to new business pressures, the risk profile changes as well. One thing I've observed over the years is that organizations often become very good at identifying familiar risks, but less effective at identifying emerging risks. That is why continual review is so important. The objective isn't simply to maintain yesterday's controls. It is to continually ask whether today's controls remain effective for tomorrow's challenges. The overall goal is straightforward. Understand what could harm people and then take the action before the harm actually occurs.
Let's talk a little bit more about risks to occupational health and safety. ISO 45001 uses an approach based on risk management. Some say risk-based thinking. It ensures it is effective and undergoes continual improvements to meet the organization's ever-changing context. Now, what is risk? Risk can be either faced by the organization and thus be management related, or it can be caused by the organization and thus be people, assets, products, services, or process related. The latter will be focused on injury or illness from the health and safety point of view. It is fundamentally about the harm to people and is called occupational health and safety risk. This is what we are talking about today. So there's a definition of the occupational health and safety risk in clause 3.21 of the standard. as a combination of the likelihood of occurrence of a work-related hazardous event or exposure and the severity of injury and ill health that can be caused by the event or exposure. This includes, as Leonie has said, psychosocial hazards. The standard, as all management system standards of ISO, in its clause 6 says you need to address actions to address risk. You need to address actions to address risk and opportunities. Clause 6.1 of the standard has been expanded if you compare it to other management system standards, because it has a clause 6.1.2, which is about hazard identification and assessment of risk and opportunities. This is, for example, the hazard identification, a forklift operation in a warehouse. The risk assessment is a potential collision with pedestrians. On the other side, an opportunity might be a redesign of a route to improve visibility. So you can see the standard is very flexible and can be very helpful.
Thank you for that. So please, can you explain more about that clause 6.1?
Certainly, and thank you very much for that, Claire. For me, clause 6.1 is where planning processes really start to become practical. Generic management system standards require organizations to assess risks and opportunities, but ISO 45001 expands that significantly because of the potential consequences when health and safety risks are not managed effectively. Organizations need to structure processes to identify hazards, assess risks, identify opportunities for improvement, understand legal requirements, and determine what actions needed to be taken. These activities are not connected, are all connected. They cannot effectively address risks if you haven't identified hazards. You cannot determine appropriate controls if you don't understand the legal requirements that apply. And equally, you can miss valuable opportunities for improvement if you are focused only on what might go wrong. What I particularly like about this clause is its emphasis on prevention. The objective isn't to wait for incidents to happen and then to investigate them. The objective is to identify potential sources of harm early, understand the associated risks and opportunities, and take action before somebody gets hurt. And in many aspects, this clause is the engine room of the management system because it drives so much of what follows throughout the rest of the standard. For me, 6.1.3 is an important addition to ISO 45001, and one that is sometimes underestimated. Organizations need to understand which legal and other requirements apply to them, how those requirements affect their activities, and what information needs to be communicated throughout the organization. That can be more challenging than what it sounds, and legislation evolves, guidance change, stakeholders' expectations develop, and organizations themselves continue to change over time, as we know. And as a result, organizations need robust processes to ensure they remain aware of the applicable requirements and understand what those requirements mean in practice. For me, compliance should be viewed as the foundation rather than the destination. Meeting legal requirements is essential, but organizations that perform well are usually the ones that go beyond compliance and focus on creating genuinely safe and healthy workplaces. In many cases, the strong performing organizations are usually thinking about emerging issues such as legislation requirements or even before legislation requirements appear. The key is ensuring that legal requirements become part of everyday decision making rather than simply existing as a register that is somewhere on a shelf.
Thank you both. And I really like that, Liani, that you were saying about looking beyond just compliance with legal requirements to be a better performing organisation. So, in addition to the guidance we've just discussed, is there more on addressing risks and opportunities elsewhere in the standard?
Identifying risk is only part of the game. You need to implement effective controls and ensuring those controls remain effective over time. So we have a look at the operational level. Operational planning and control, clause 8.1. We talked about clause 6, and clause 6 addresses risk and opportunities at the strategic level. Clause 8 is addressing both at the operational level. It contains requirements on eliminating hazards, on procurement and supply chain and contractor risks, on management of change, and on emergency preparedness and response. So, yeah, we have to look, or everybody who uses the standard will have to look at clause 8, definitely, to learn about risk and opportunities and how to deal with them at the operational level. So, having said this, let me briefly refer to Annex A of the standard. This is where you can find further guidance, mirroring the body text of the standard in more detail. There is guidance on the use of the standard. It provides practical guidance and clarification to support implementation. The explanatory information given is intended to prevent misinterpretation of the requirements contained in the standard. It does not include any additional requirements. It provides a valuable context.
Thank you for that, Frank. So, are there any other requirements or recommendations on occupational health and safety risk?
Obviously, the standard is quite all-encompassing. I think what I would want to do is just reiterate what I've mentioned earlier on. Workplace dynamics as it stands at the moment is ever-changing. And with everything that changes around us, we need to not only look at how quickly organizations develop, but also how rapidly workplace risks can change. And because of that, we need to look at the identification of hazards and how it's treated. And it shouldn't be treated as a once-off exercise. The standard places a strong emphasis on worker consultation and participation. And I think that's absolutely critical. The people that is carrying out the work in today's workplace have a clear understanding of where hazards exist and where pressures occur and where controls may not be working as intended. I think throughout my career, one of the reoccurring themes that I've seen is that workers often recognize emerging risks long before management does. And when incidents are investigated, it's quite often and commonly find that there were warning signs well before the incident or the event actually occurred. So the issue was very rarely that the hazard was completely unknown. It was more often that the issue that was of a concern wasn't exactly or effectively communicated, or it wasn't something that was acted upon. So effective worker participation within this context is quite important. People often in the organization are the best source of information, both for risks and opportunities for improvement. One of the more recent developments within occupational health and safety is ISO PAS 45007, which provides guidance on risks arising from climate change and climate change action. Now, climate change is often discussed primarily as an environmental issue, but increasingly we recognize it also has significant implications for worker health and safety. Now, as chair of ISO TC 283, I've seen a growing international interest in understanding this relationship and how organizations can respond effectively. Workers may be exposed to increasing temperatures, heat stress, severe weather events, changing air quality, and disruption to infrastructure and supply chain. Depending on the sector, this can impact on everything from construction and agriculture through to manufacturing, logistics, and emerging responsive activities. What makes this document particularly of interest is that it doesn't just focus on direct impact of climate change. It also recognizes that organizations are actively adapting to climate change and implementing mitigating measures. Those activities can themselves create new health and safety risks. For example, organizations may introduce new technologies, redesign facilities, modify infrastructure, or change working practices to improve resilience or reduce environmental impacts. Those changes can create new health and safety considerations that need to be understood and managed. The PAS helps organizations think about these things in a structured and a more proactive way rather than waiting for problems to emerge.
Thank you. And I think ISO PAS 45007 has a valuable annex because it's providing case studies. A case study on climate change impacts on an oil palm plantation, climate change adaptation emerging risks in farming, climate change impacts on chemical manufacturing facility, and climate change mitigation and emerging risk in an offshore wind farm. So it certainly is worth having a look at the standard and learn from those case studies. Now, Claire, you ask about whether there's more on risk. Yes, there's more under development because there is, but not in TC 283, but in TC 262, new MSS, Management System Standards with recommendations and under development. And those recommendations, because it's a management system standards, are easily to be integrated into any integrated management system. And this new standard will hopefully have a broader understanding of risk, addressing all types of risk and opportunities. Because as you might be aware, there is more than one definition of risk in ISO. So the three types addressed by the new standard, which will be numbered 31011, is a meta definition with the effect of uncertainty, which is the current harmonized structure definition, the overall definition for management system standards, but then it branches out into currently three branches. One will be risk faced by organizations, which basically is the ISO 31000 family. But then there is also risks caused by organizations, which are created, related to people, assets, products, service, and processes, like, for example, occupational health and safety risk, which we have been talking about today. And you can see it on the slide in the middle on the top, 45001. And a third branch, which is quite new and just beginning to develop and to sprout, is societal risk, like climate change and human right related risk. So ISO is moving forward. New things are developing, and you can see the future is, well, I would say there's a bright future, because this is for the first time giving us a flexibility that is very much needed. And yeah, if the future tells us we need another type of risk, the risk tree can grow another branch, fourth or fifth branch. So this will give us some flexibility. And experts are invited to join ISO TC 262 Working Group 11, which is working on the new standard under development on addressing risk and opportunities. By the way, which is the wording that is used by ISO for all management system standards. So you can seek to liaise with TC 262 Working Group 11, send representatives to support a knowledge-based discussion. With that, I'm coming to an end and want to say thank you for your attention. On this slide, you can see the contact details of myself and Leonie. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to contact us, and we'll happily answer any questions you might have. Thank you very much. Leonie, I think you want to say probably the same thing.
Yes, please, if I can say a little something as well. Thank you very much, first of all, for the invitation to this recording. Now, if there was one message that I would leave viewers with, is that effective occupational health and safety management is fundamentally about prevention. It is about understanding hazards, assessing risks, identifying opportunities, involving workers, and taking action before harm occurs. ISO 45001 provides organizations with a structured framework for doing exactly that. At the same time, guidance to ISO PAS 45007 helps organizations to respond to emerging and changing circumstances, including growing impact of climate change and worker health and safety. And as our workplaces continue to evolve, organizations will need to remain proactive, adaptable, and focus on protecting people. So ultimately, good occupational health and safety management is not simply about compliance, it's about creating workplaces where people can work safely and remain healthy and thrive. So again, thank you very much for the opportunity. And yes, happy for anybody to contact me if they've got any questions.
Thank you very much. I think what you just said is it requires real leadership, worker participation, and understanding risk and opportunities, as well as a commitment to continual improvement to be successful in the management of any organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leonie. Thank you very much, Frank. And really good to see the passion behind the standard as well. I think that came across really strongly in this episode. And thank you to those of you who have watched as well.